2 nights. Chapter 3. No escape.
I'll show you.
Taehyung said as he placed the chocolate-covered stick in Jungkook's mouth, before biting onto the other end. Jungkook's eyes widened as he realized what was happening. The older boy began to advance towards him, munching down on the other side. The female students in the classroom began to squeal at the sight and pulled out their phones, snapping pictures and recording videos of the two. It was only natural that they would want to capture the moment between the two most sought-after guys in their grade. Taehyung continued to move forward, leaning in, every bite leading him closer and closer to the younger's lips. But before much could happen, Jungkook regained his composure and bit down sharply, ending the game quickly. Taehyung caught the fallen piece in his hand and looked down at it.
That's like 5 centimeters, Jungkook. You're horrible at this.
The older boy exclaimed.
Not as easy as you thought, now was it?
He asked. Jungkook didn't respond as he averted his eyes away, looking back down at his homework. He continued where he left off, as if nothing had happened, his expression giving off no emotions. Though on the inside, he was burning up. He lowered himself and rested his chin on the desk.
Let's try again later. I'm going to go now. See you in 6th period.
He said before getting up and leaving. Jungkook was now alone with a bunch of newly formed fangirls who were spreading pictures and videos they had taken to others. He sighed, a little bit of warmth rising to the apples of his cheeks. He finally knew how to play the game, though he didn't really know if he'd want to try it again. 6th period, Language Arts.
We will be having a group project today.
The teacher says as soon as class began. The students all groaned.
Lighten up, it'll be the last assignment before the trip, so you have a whole week to complete it. I suggest you use the weekend to do the majority of it. Anyway, I'm handing out the rubric, so please read it thoroughly.
He said. The papers got passed down each row. Once it came to Jungkook, he quickly skimmed over it. Debate presentation. This is a formal grade, do take seriously. Groups can range from 3-4 people. No more, no less. Everyone must take part and work should be evenly distributed amongst each person. Assignment. Work together to create a presentation about any debatable topic of your choosing. Please refrain from any vulgar or inappropriate subjects. Choose a side and defend with evidence from your research. Remember to cite and provide your own commentary to carry out any thoughts or reasons. You will be graded both individually and as a whole, so make sure that everyone has a certain role that contributes to the presentation. Things that will be scored are presentation, visual and length, 20 points. Presentation, content, 30 points. Speech, persuasive impact, 30 points. Neatness and creativity, 10 points. Audience connection, 10 points. A detailed online rubric will be posted on the web for further information on scoring. It's a 100-point formal? Oh, come on. One of the guys in the back complained.
Yes, so that's why you should pick your partners carefully, don't just go for your friends. Make sure you all work nicely together, and remember that you can only have up to 4 people, 3 is the minimum.
The teacher replied.
Now, without wasting any more time, please form your groups and begin thinking of a topic.
Here it comes. Jungkook could feel the stares of his classmates as they eyed him from their seats. He had recently become a big target in his class after the scores for one of the tests got posted on the wall. The test was super hard by regular standards, but Jungkook landed himself at the number 1 spot with a perfect score, of course. Before he knew it, all of the students shot up from their seats and rushed over to him like wild animals. Want to be partners? Join my group? I got the 15th top score, that's like only a few away from yours. Their pleads went on and on. Jungkook stayed still and turned his head away, not replying to anyone's requests. If he didn't answer, he wouldn't have to join a group, right? He was going to be as stubborn as ever. The teacher seemed to be distressed at the situation breaking out, even he didn't know what to do. Everyone kept crowding around the star student, trying to get him in their group.
Jungkook, please choose a group.
The teacher pleaded, trying to end the chaos. Jungkook let out a sigh. He couldn't disregard his teacher's request, he always listened to higher authorities, being the perfect student he was. In the end, he knew he'd be put into a group by force if he didn't choose, so he decided he'd just get it over with while he still had the chance. He looked up and tried to spot any decent classmates. Maybe he could join the nerds of the class. They were hardworking, though they were kind of stingy and strict. Another choice was the laid-back kids. If he teamed with them, he could control the project. But that also meant doing all the work, which he was not in the mood for. Is there really anyone I can work with? Jungkook felt as if he was incompatible with everyone. Just as he was about to give up and just head over to the nerd group, a shout ripped through the noisy atmosphere.
Jungkook, want to be in my group?
He didn't even have to guess who it was. No one else would call him in such a ridiculous manner. Taehyung waved from the other side of the room, hollering him to come over. Jungkook felt a twinge of reluctance as he saw the older boy, but quickly shook it away. Taehyung wasn't a horribly idiotic guy, and neither was he amazingly brilliant, but he seemed to be a better pick out of the bunch, not saying that Jungkook wants to work with him or anything. Jungkook stood up from his chair and walked past the crowd of classmates.
Fine, I'll join,
he said. The classroom erupted in displeased groans as the top student became taken.
Okay everyone, group the rest of yourselves up and stop stalling, you have work to do.
The teacher said as she tried to move everyone along. Jungkook was now in a group with Taehyung and another classmate who seemed to be the older boy's friend.
Hi, I'm Park Jimin.
The boy said. His smile was friendly. Jungkook identified him as a fellow intellect. He was aware that Jimin scored quite high in other classes, even tying with Jungkook for some subjects. Seeing this, he figured that this might not be a bad group after all.
I'm Jin Jungkook.
He replied. The two boys shook hands.
I have an idea for our topic.
Taehyung exclaimed, cutting in.
What about we do it on, should toilet paper be over or under? I think that it should be over.
He stated strongly. Jungkook couldn't tell if he was kidding or not, but he sure hoped that he was. After a long conversation about what they would do their debate on, they finally had a good list. Toilet paper. Under or over? Should you pour milk in before or after cereal? If you turn up the AC, does it mean it's getting colder or hotter? Can hot dogs are considered sandwiches? Are muffins and cupcakes just small cakes? If you remember something you forgot, did you really forget it? They read it over, and Jungkook tried his hardest not to show how displeased he was. Though he did have opinions on each topic, he wasn't sure if these were very strong arguments that were worthy of a formal presentation.
What about we just do it on whether or not military service should be obligatory?
Jungkook asked. It was an idea he thought could work since military service was required in their country, meaning that the topic was relevant. The teacher would definitely like it.
Oh, nice thinking.
Jimin said as he wrote the new idea down.
I think this might be the best idea we had yet. No offense to you, Taehyung.
None taken. I guess Jungkook's idea might be a little better than the ones I've come up with.
He muttered.
Let's just go with it, I trust Mr. Golden Boy and his brains.
Taehyung concluded and pulled out a computer to begin the research portion. Jungkook scoffed at the nickname, but started working anyway. Now that their topic was decided, they spent the rest of the period researching. At some points, there were distractions, but other than that, it was a smooth working experience. Jungkook and Jimin found dozens of sources for the topic and even started the presentation slides. They didn't even realize that it was the end of the class until the bell rang abruptly and signaled for them to switch. Jungkook didn't hesitate to leave. He was just hoping to get this long Friday over with. The end of the day had finally come. It had been a pretty stressful week for Jungkook, but he was glad that it was over now. He packed up his stuff and walked out of the school, while simultaneously reading a book. But as he was walking, a foot poked out in front of him and caused him to trip. He bumped into something, latching onto it to regain balance.
Oh there Jungkook, slow down.
A deep voice said directly into his ear. He jumped back, immediately loosening his grasp on Taehyung's arm, as he saw two familiar faces standing in front of him. Jungkook stared at them confusedly, but before he could ask anything, Jimin stepped up.
We decided that we should work on the project over the weekend. But the problem was, Taehyung and I couldn't do it at our houses, so we thought that maybe we could work at yours instead.
The boy explained.
So can we come over to your house right now?
Jungkook clenched his teeth lightly. He really didn't want to spend any more time than he had to with these guys, and he really wasn't a fan of their idea to work at his house, but since this was education related,
Fine.
he muttered in response. He figured that, if he let them come and work on the project, they would finish faster, which also meant that Jungkook could also get rid of them sooner.
Follow me.
To be continued in Chapter 4.